Good evening, everyone. Apologies for the delay. Welcome to our webinar on communicating boundaries. We're delighted to welcome back Cora. Cora's enthusiasm and warmth matches her expertise and knowledge, empowering children, young people and families to find their own balance between idealism and the practicalities of interpersonal communication. As an educator, a coach and a therapist, Cora challenges perceptions of difficult everyday situations to empower people to develop solutions that are fitting to their family. Last year, you fed back that you wanted to hear more about how to create healthy boundaries, tools that can help, and real-life worked examples. We did plan this webinar before the move to online learning, but we do hope that now more than ever, the next hour will empower you to develop and grow meaningful connections whilst maintaining expectations and also setting boundaries. It's interactive, so please get involved, and we welcome your questions throughout. At this point, I'll hand over to Cora. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Saffron. And I also want to thank Claire and Saffron and Calvin and VJ, the team who's been supporting all of this. It's a real honor to be back. So first of all, let's just take a moment, next slide, please, to just check in with what you might need to get ready for today. So are you comfortable? Do you need to just take a moment and find a little box to empty your thoughts of the events of the day into, and we'll come back to those. They'll be waiting for you when it's over, but if you could just take a moment to wrap those things up and put it aside, and take a breath, and just allow this time to be something a little bit different than the rest of your day. And I do want to warmly welcome you to my Chinese New Year decorated home. I wish we could be in person. We had hoped that this would be an in-person time together, but we'll make do with what we've got. It's wonderful to be with you, even though I can't see you. I wish I could. As Saffron said, it is an interactive webinar, but I want to just invite you to check in with yourself to see how much your bandwidth is there for this, and just to engage as much or as little as you feel comfortable. Great, so next slide, please. My niece posted this picture of her daughter today. Just cracked me up so bad. The caption says, "This is brilliant. She's learning so much. #online learning." Yeah, well, it's super cute when your child is 3, but knowing that you are the parents of year 12 and 13 students, you're certainly having to face greater challenges. Next slide, please. So when you read these words, students will return to remote learning, I'm sure a flood of different emotions came up. So VJ has kindly set up a poll for us, as will be your first opportunity. If you could just click onto your into that poll, and you can start your voting in there to see, let's just see how our group of parents today, how you're feeling or how you felt about this. I've never done this before, it's quite exciting. So yeah. I think you just click on to the choice that fits you the best. I'll just give you a couple seconds to do that. I think VJ is going to be able to show us as the things are coming in. Oh, here they are. Yeah. Yeah, oh, it's climbing. Yeah, that frustrated. It's definitely taking the lead there. Anxious is at a close second. Yeah. Lots of frustration. Mm-hmm. So I think it's pretty clear that going to online is a frustrating process, somewhat anxiety producing, and you can only imagine, well, we can only imagine how our kids are feeling about it, how your kids are feeling about it. When, as Saffron said, when we planned this, it was before we went on online learning, but these are some of the questions that came through. Next slide, please, from you. I think they're brilliant questions. The first one, how do we do this without a fight? I think that was probably what creates the frustration and anxiety, knowing that we're going to be going head to head with our kids. How do we reduce the screen time? What's appropriate? These are fantastic questions. And how do we determine that? It's really not that clear cut, is it? I mean, it'd be great if there was some cookie cutter answer that could answer everything, but we just don't have that. The fostering the connection, I think that's true for all of our, for all of us, whether they're online gamers or not. That connection, I think, is what we want to focus on today. When we have that connection, we can create boundaries that are meaningful, that are workable, and that can actually be followed through on. And then a few more questions about relationships within and outside the family, as well as a balanced lifestyle. So these are fantastic questions. I hope that we can address the bulk of them today the best that we can. All right, next slide, please. Right, so what are boundaries? Click, please. Boundaries are not just rules. Okay, a boundary line is a line that defines where one person ends and another begins. It's really about how we express ourselves. So, it's a reflection of what's important to us. It's a reflection of what our values are. It's a reflection of our passions, our wants. It's really something very personal. So I think that's something to really bear in mind when, we go into this with our teens thinking, well, I'm just asking something simple, like put your phone down at dinner. And it seems like something pretty simple, but then why is it so emotionally charged? I think it's very helpful for us to bear in mind that it's really about an expression of who we are and what's important to us. Next slide, please. So we have a lovely clip that was put together by Saffron and a team of other wonderful people that tell us a little bit of why kids think, what the kids think about social media and boundaries. Let's just enjoy this clip together.
Social media provides a platform for students to socialize outside of in-person interactions, especially during the pandemic and with all the social restrictions. Social media is important because it also allows students to develop and maintain relationships with peers, such as those who are far away from themselves. Also, on social media, teens can discover others with similar interests or things that they are passionate about. On social media, there's an increased degree of anonymity, so teens may feel more empowered to express themselves on social media.
I feel like a lot of parents think that social media is all about sharing content and just posting pictures or just looking at other people's posts, but it's really not. For me, social media is kind of just connecting with my friends, and it's kind of hard to disconnect when everyone else is online. So when people tell me to put my phone away, it's kind of like, get rid of your friends, get rid of everything, Because nowadays, social media is everywhere.
It provides a communicative platform for us as teenagers to talk about like our feelings or our thoughts, and we get to explain different scenarios to each other.
I get that there's also some downsides to it, like people can be rude to each other, and there's some sides of it that's dark, but I feel like people, like teenagers, can use it responsibly.
It gives me a sort of an escape from reality, and it allows me to get inspired as well as connect with other people.
It makes us feel less alone even when we are actually alone. And it's just a place where you can share messages where sometimes you wouldn't share in person because you don't have the courage to, or you feel like no one would listen.
I think that it would be great if parents are more open or supportive and they're able to understand different perspectives and relate it on a more personal level.
It's quite hard, like a lot of parents don't understand, because I know obviously like this isn't like the generation they grew up in, but I feel like a lot of parents put pressure on kids and they don't really understand how hard it is for us. So I feel like they just need to take it a bit easier sometimes and put less pressure.
As a teenager, independence is extremely important. So it is important for parents to give teenagers opportunities to work on this. Furthermore, it is important to help teens meet new people, especially those who are introverted. Teens are also interested in many things, so help them explore topics which will pique their interest.
It's different. I think because we're growing up in a world which is just changing, and we've already been through so much at such a young age. It's stressful, it's hard, it's difficult, and yeah, we're just learning and growing, and yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful sharing from these kids. Really helpful to us. Next slide, please. When we talk about boundaries, there are two general types. There's the reactive boundaries, what we don't want. And so I think the kids talked a little bit about what they didn't want. We also, as parents, have things that we don't want. But what's really important for visioning is looking at proactive boundaries. What is it that we do want? If we can't just look at the negative, we really need to look towards visioning. So I had originally wanted to have us, well, let's just try. I think it's worth doing this. Let's, VJ's gonna open another poll with a short answer option there. You could just type in, a short phrase, just a short phrase. What are the top things that you would want to see in your family? Things that would make it so much better, or the way that you would love it to be if it wasn't riddled with so many challenges. So we'll open this for a few minutes and allow you to put in some of your thoughts. I think it'd be helpful. Some answers are already coming in. I think we'll be able to see them in just a moment. Well, certainly I think we're going to see things like we like calmer communication. Let's see what else. I know that I wanted just to have communication, please talk to me. I think the answers are populating now. We'll just give another 30 seconds to a minute or so. All right. Here we go. We're going to see some answers now. Cool. Okay. Not sure what's going on, but that's all right. All right, for the sake of time, we'll move on. Maybe we can look at that later. Unless I'm being impatient. Let's see. All right, okay, so we're gonna have the results shared later. Yeah, so really taking some time to vision about what we do want can help reset the stage as well, particularly as we head into a new season, going on online, or if you've had frustration in the past. Instead of dwelling on the past, really taking a moment to pause and figure out, okay, what is it that I would like to see? Certainly connection and understanding is what the students are saying, and I would imagine that that's what you would like too. But how would we do that? It's great to think about that and imagine it, but how do we create that? So let's go on to the next slide, please. This next section is going to involve your really trying to do this experimentation with me, like really experience this with me and see what comes up for you, okay? So one of the key things for creating that respect and caring, some of the answers are coming in that I can read out. With that respect and caring, harmony, I think these are the words that are coming up now, fantastic. Maybe Saffron, would you mind reading some of those out as we go? Are you able to do that?
Absolutely, yeah, bear with me. I'll start my video as well. Some of the points coming out in terms of what parents do want. Siblings helping each other, respect and caring, that sense of wanting harmony, a relaxed dinner conversation, great conversation, better communication.
Great, fantastic. So yes, wouldn't we all love that? And how do we do that? I think one thing you can pause right now to ask yourself is, when you call your child's name, what do you think they're expecting? So take a moment to think about that. Are they expecting a compliment? Are they expecting criticism? Complaining? Or just connection? You know, what is it that you're inviting your kids to step into? When you talk about inviting them into that family space, what does it actually feel like? So if you could just take a moment and imagine in your own mind, somebody who is really welcoming, somebody who made you feel so at home. Just to picture that person, or maybe you want to jot that name down. And notice how it feels in your body when you think of that person. Maybe it's a certain place that you went to. Maybe it's certain activities you did with this person. As you draw this person to mind, you can notice your whole body kind of relaxing. Maybe a smile is coming up on your face. This is a very important first step in creating that vision for your family. How do you make it welcoming for your kids? How do you make them feel that home is theirs too? How do you create that atmosphere? So next slide, please. Again, in the land of rainbows and unicorns, it should be simple to do that right. But oftentimes, you know, before the conversation has even begun, our nonverbal cues set the stage. So I'd just like to go through a few of these different types of awareness that communicate certain things, whether or not we intend to consciously. So again, this is a experiential piece. It means a lot more if you can try to do it with me. So the first type is analytical awareness, and this is when you're trying to solve a problem. You can see in the picture, you know, when you think about, oh, I have a problem to solve, just see if you can find that posture. Some people might go like this, you know, feel a little tension in the shoulders, the head's engaged, little tension, eyebrows might be a little furrowed. Well, obviously being analytical is not a problem at all by any means. However, if you're trying to have a conversation with your child about setting boundaries, for example, and they get this look, before you've even begun, it's easy for them to see that body language as, oh, we're in for it. And really, all my parents think about is how I'm a problem or life is a problem. That doesn't make for very relaxed dinner conversation. The second one is hyper awareness. So let's try this one together. Feel the eyes getting big. Feel what's going on in your body. Whew. Surely it pumps up a fair bit of energy, doesn't it? There's adrenaline pumping up. It's almost like, oh, danger. We've got to do something right now. We would pump into action. And again, you know, when you see your child up at 3 in the morning, what? This is a hyper awareness moment, right? And again, very natural. But generally speaking, this type of awareness creates an atmosphere of tension. It pretty much puts everybody into a fight flight mode. And it communicates to the child, be ready for a fight. And that's not very helpful for that relaxed dinner conversation. How about hypo awareness? That's when it's just too much. And again, work with me and feel the slouch of that. The shoulders go in, The hands are on the head, just, oh. Just really allow your body to take this posture. Yeah, so unlike the hyper awareness, just, the energy just drains out of you. And everything feels heavy and slow. When a child is met with that, a message that can be given off and very, not consciously is they might receive the message that they're just too much. And you just don't have the bandwidth for them. You don't have the space for them. So maybe they should just go and deal with it themselves. The last one is blank, nothing. Blank is blank. And the weird thing about blank is it could mean anything. And that's why it can be very disturbing for the person looking at the blank face. It creates literally a blank screen to project onto it whatever is inside. All the fears, all the worries. Oh, mom must be mad. Dad must be, and they can fill in the blank with the blank. So check in to see when you're with your kids, which type of awareness tends to come up more often, because these are things that get, they really set the stage for the conversation before anything's even being discussed. Well, the kind of attention that we'd like to create, next slide, please, is calm, curious, compassionate awareness. I'm just even looking at the picture of these kids. It's hard not to sit back and breathe and make a little smile as well. For these little kids, they're just wondering, oh, what is that? What's going on? That kind of awareness is what we want to apply when we're having these conversations with our children, with our teens. We want to find out about their day. We want to know about what's going on with their friends. We want to find out about that exam that's coming up. Really, without this kind of safety, we're not going to have the connection that we need to have these wonderful conversations about difficult topics. So, next slide, please. I just like to run through why this connection is so important and how do we create it. We need to listen. As the student said, please hear me out, observe. And what we want to observe is not only what they're doing, but observe how we're feeling, what our face might be saying. We want to listen and validate what they're going through. When there's that connection, we get to hear where they're really at, and we can empathize with them. The big question is, well, how do we do this without a fight? Well, maybe you can't avoid a fight entirely, but if through that conversation, you can really understand what your child needs, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. If you can connect at the heart first, all the logical stuff will fall into place. So we ended with this slide last webinar, but we didn't have a chance to flesh them out. So we hope to do that this time by going through a number of role plays. So we'll do the role play together, but we'll be inviting you to type into the chat your experiences and your questions about how to make it really work. So I'm going to like to introduce to you Claire, the distracted teen. Claire, excuse me, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You told me an hour ago that you had an IA to write, and all I've seen for the last hour is you poking on your phone and toggling back and forth.
Mom, I've had a really busy day today. It's been just full of stuff. I just want a bit of time to switch off and connect with my friends.
Yes, but you've been home for 2 hours already. You've seen them all day. And how much more time do you need to spend with them, for goodness sake?
Do you not trust me with this? Honestly, every time I'm on this,
look, it's not about trust, Claire. It's about you getting on with your work. I mean, you're the one that said you need to get the IA done. And here you are, just fluffing the time away.
You don't understand. You don't understand.
All right. So that's probably what it typically may or could look like at home. Let's try a take 2. Okay. Hey, Claire, what you doing?
Oh, hi, Mum. I'm just checking in on my social media and you know, just having a look at my threads here and catching up with my friends. It's been a really
Sounds like
busy
fun.
day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it.
I've I've got these IAs to do, and
Mm.
I'm really struggling. And to be honest with you, I don't know where to start. I really don't, and I am struggling a bit with them, if I'm honest with you.
Right. So it's kind of nice to sort of connect with friends and kind of take your mind off it for a bit, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm just feeling a bit stressed, and I just needed to connect. And of course, we're online at the moment. I'm not seeing my friends as much, and I just feel like I needed a bit of time and a bit of switch off.
I can't even imagine what it's like for you guys right now to do school, not being able to see your friends and with IAs and exams coming up. That's got to be really rough.
Oh, I am, Mum, thanks for asking. I am finding it difficult. Yeah.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. But look at I know that you've been talking about these IAs for a while now, and just looking at the clock, it's starting to get late, and I just feel like that stress is just going to mount if you can't get on with it. So is there, yeah, do you kind of see where the timing is going to work out for you?
Yeah, I do. I think I am going to have to look at it, if I'm honest with you, and probably start planning out some time. I'm just a bit stuck, and I don't know how to do it really.
Would it help if I sat with you for a bit and just, like, do you want to talk it out with me a little bit? I mean, not that I know any of the answers, but sometimes, talking out loud can help you to sort of find that,
And
I don't know, flow.
You promise you won't take over the conversation?
Okay, fair enough, but I'll try my best. Okay, I promise.
Oh, thanks, Mum. Thanks.
All right. So that's an example of where, the rules are less important than the connection. Remember, boundaries is about relationship. It's about trying to understand where your child's at and what they're using their social media for and what's important to them. So I've just, in the slides, I've included some resources for you to look at. The first one is about how tech is designed to monetize the value of your attention. It's a little 60 minutes clip there. It's quite interesting. It may give you some empathy for not only your child, but yourself. Like when your child says, oh, I was watching this and it was really funny. And then you can also say, oh yeah, you know what? Just the other day I was looking at something and it really took me down a rabbit hole. And 20 minutes later, I didn't know where I was. And it was just such a waste of my time, but oh well, I need to figure out how to, manage myself better. I think the really big key to boundaries, especially with your older teens, is that it's no longer about you helping them to control themselves. They are the ones that really need to develop their own self-regulation. But I think empathizing with them and saying that you understand how difficult it is, because it's hard for me too to put it down. And again, make sure you're modeling. I mean, for example, if you want to ask them to lay their phones down for dinner, maybe you can request that and talk about how, hey, family time is really important to us. And I know it's really hard for you to, be offline when other people are online, but, could you try to respect this? And I'm going to do the same. So anything you ask your kids to do, be sure that you're doing it too. Otherwise, hey, they've got pretty big hypocrite radars. Another resource here, sorry, can you go back real quick? Other resources, the second one is a research paper that was done in the UK. And it offers some pretty interesting things about how different apps influence mental health. I want to just remember to put out there that this is not meant to be used as a weapon. Like you're not meant to pick it up, read it and go, oh, you see, during the webinar, Cora said, and look at this study, it says that Instagram is the most negatively impacting. No, that's not what this is for. But I think it has very interesting information on how you could have that conversation with your kids. Like, oh, when you're on Instagram, how does it make you feel? When you look at all those pictures of, How does that influence the way you see yourself or see others? And just begin to have those conversations with them. So it's less about, no, you can't use that app, or no, I need to shut that down. But okay, given that you're using it, or what are the kids using these days anyway? Then ask lots of questions. This really makes me think of a dear friend of mine, an amazing mom of teens. She is incredible at asking questions. I think that's the most amazing skill that we can have as parents, to learn how to ask and engage them in that conversation, inviting them in without judgment, trying to keep that calm, curious face when they give us their answers as well. All right, next up, please. This is going to be Calvin, our super supportive teen. Oh, Calvin,
Hey.
it's 2 a.m. What are you doing on your phone?
Yeah, Mom, I'm just talking to a friend. He just having some struggles and troubles, so I'm just trying to help him. He can't seem to sleep. I'm really worried about him.
Well, yeah, well, you're not sleeping either, and neither am I now. For goodness sake, it's 2. Could you? And you're.
I know.
And
I'm gonna be done soon, okay? I'm gonna be done soon.
You know the family rule. The phone needs to be charged outside your room. Why is it even in your room?
Yeah, I just got really worried. I was gonna go to bed, but I just really worry about my friend. So I went out and just got my phone. I just gotta finish this conversation. Is that okay, Mom?
No, because you can't make everybody else's problem your problem, okay? I know just tell them it's 2 o'clock and your mom said that it's just too late. You just need to stop now and just look, you've got an exam tomorrow too. So, stop trying to be the savior of the world and just stop. Do you want, look, don't give me that. Don't look at me like that. You stop. Do you want to be grounded?
Okay, Mom, fine.
You're going to lose your phone for like the whole weekend, okay? Just
fine. Okay, I'm done. Fine.
Thank you. All right, so yeah, that didn't go down so good, right? Calvin, how did that make you feel?
Very frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, felt very frustrated.
And what about how you felt about whether or not I was judging your behavior? What was I saying to you?
I felt that you weren't understanding, because I felt that I was helping out someone else, helping my friend out, and I felt that you weren't there to understand that. You were just focusing on my behavior, which having my phone, in the middle of the night.
Right. So let's try the scenario again. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, here we go. Oh, Calvin. Oh,
come on.
What's going on, man? It's like 2 a.m, buddy. What are you doing?
I'm just talking to a friend.
Is he okay? What's going on?
He's just really worried about the exam tomorrow, and so I'm just trying to help him to calm down so he could rest as well. He's really my good friend, so I really want to support him.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really great. You got exams too, and it's hard, right?
Yeah, it is. It's just been weighing on me and also my friend too.
I bet you your whole class is feeling like that, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, listen, like, it's great that you want to help your friend. How about we figure out a time to talk about this more tomorrow? But how long do you think it's going to take to get him sort of chilled out before you can go back to bed?
Can I just send him like a couple of messages? Maybe I will tell him what you said too, and we can talk about it tomorrow. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds good. So how about tomorrow? I'm a little worried because I've kind of noticed you doing this a little bit more recently, and I'm kind of worried about your health and stuff. Can we have a chat about it maybe after school or over the weekend?
Yeah, I think that's good. That's fine.
Okay. All right, so let's fast forward the conversation now to the next day or over the weekend. Yeah. And VJ, can I see the next slide, please, while we do that? Yeah. So, you know, trying to have the conversation at 2 in the morning probably isn't going to work, but Calvin and I can have the conversation the next day or over the weekend, and he can know that he's not in trouble, right? It's not about the rules. It's about understanding where they're at. So, hey, Calvin, thanks for making time. I know you're really busy trying to prepare for exams right now, but it's really been sort of heavy on my heart. Like, I'm really worried about your health and the health of your friends. Like, do you think this is just going to go away in the next couple of days or a week?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
gonna
think
be
it's
ongoing, I think.
right. So, like, sustainability is pretty important. I mean, I love the fact that you want to be there for your friends, and you know they want to be there for you. I wonder if there's better ways to make this sustainable. Like, are you the only friend that can support this guy?
I suppose he has other friends too.
Yeah.
Maybe I can ask him about it. He just seemed to
Okay.
text me a lot. I think he trusts me
Right.
a lot.
Well, that's awesome. Well, you're a pretty trustworthy guy. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're a great guy, son. I'm just, yeah.
Hmm.
I know I shouldn't be biased, but I kind of like you, so I'm sure that that's why he trusts you too. But yeah, I just hope that you don't take it all on your own shoulders. Like, if there can be a team, you know, maybe there's other friends you can check in with, and like if he's really stressed out, you know, do you think it's time to have him talk to a teacher, maybe?
Yeah, maybe I can talk to him about that and see if there are other people that he could get support from.
What was the name of that teacher that you guys all think is really cool? I forget his name. Okay, let's not say names because it wouldn't be fair, but but you know, the kids usually have some cool teacher that they like, and you know, that's where you could interject that. So yeah, for the kids who are up in the middle of the night, let's find out why. And if they are there because their friend is distressed, or you know, if their friend is struggling with XYZ, let's not just shut it down. Let's find out what it is that's going on and show that you genuinely care too. And you know, depending on what kind of relationship you have with your kids, maybe it's like, hey, you know, do you want to have them come over and come over for dinner sometime? You know, like maybe we can just hang out. And you guys can whatever. You know, I'll cook for you guys, or whatever it is. So that's just other ways you can connect. Again, it is about boundaries, but it's not about rules. And then just to wrap up, once you've had that connection, then you can talk about the nitty gritties, right? So Calvin, how do you feel about the whole sleep hygiene thing? You know, like we did agree that, you know, that computers and phones would be left outside. How, you know, do you think that actually works for you?
I think so, because it's very clear on that. So there's clear boundary as well, as you promise that you will follow up. So I like that approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. Again, with your child, it's not that you can't say that you would like there to be sleep hygiene, that you can't leave the phones outside, but make it more about understanding their needs and, you know, what really works for them and caring for their health. And, you know, if you have genuine concerns, say, it's really my concern for you, versus, you know, you need to this, you need to that. When we say that to kids, it really gets them on the defensive because they're like, well, you don't know what I need. You know, you don't understand. So if we can really sit with them in it and try to change our language a little bit, it can often really help them to be on board with the boundaries that you set. Okay, I think we have time for our third one. Let's meet VJ, our gaming team. Here we go. All right. He's okay. Oh, I gotta, whew, it's hard for me to keep a straight face for this one. VJ, dinner. VJ, dinner.
My mom's here. Yes, what's that?
VJ, I said it's dinner.
I'm not hungry.
Yeah, well, this isn't a restaurant, you know, and it's dinner time. You need to be at the table.
I'll be out in a minute, okay? Okay, just wait.
10 minutes later. BJ, it's been 10 minutes.
I'll be out, okay? I'm playing with my friends.
I don't know why I even bothered doing this. You know, he thinks this place is it's like a, it's like a restaurant, hotel, whatever. He doesn't see him. Like, you know, it's driving me crazy. BJ, it's been 30 minutes. Get out here. Come on. Hey.
What? I said I was playing with my friends.
So that's our first attempt. Not so successful. Lots of frustration on both sides. Let's try the scenario again. Here we go. Calvin. Now, if we were live, I would walk over and maybe put my hand on VJ's shoulder. All right, because sometimes yelling from the door or yelling from outside or yelling and yelling really doesn't help, because by the time I've yelled for the third time, I'm nuts. So I might want to walk in if it's not a, you know, a no thing. I've knocked. Then I might second knock, go in. I might put my hand on VJ's shoulder. So imagine I'm behind VJ. I put my hand on his shoulder. Hey, VJ.
Yes, I said I'd be out in a minute.
Oh, whoa. Remember, we talked about having that 15-minute sort of warning. I already let you know 15 minutes ago that it would be dinner time, right?
All right. But I don't have any chance to play with my friends. This is the only chance that we get.
So is it one of those, you know, group game things? Is it on live like right now, or what?
Yeah, since we can't go out anymore, this is the only time that we have, you know, we play together, you know, online. We have 4 friends in there and we're having a good time.
Okay. Look, I'm not here to be a killjoy and not say that you can't play with your friends, but you know, having our family time at dinner is important too. And look, I've made a lot of effort to make, you know, healthy food for you. So it's important to me that you show up, right? And I don't have a lot of time left with you, sweetheart. You're gonna go off to university soon, and this is really important to me. So how about, like, is this a really important game? Like, did you pre-plan it, or is it just sort of spontaneous?
It's kind of important, Mom.
Okay. So listen, how about next time, if you actually have a planned time with your friends and it's an important one, how about we talk about it and schedule it in so that I'll know that, let's say you might not be there for dinner that night, or I can even adjust my time so that we can eat together, you know, the later, or we can eat together before you play with your friends. Do you think that might work better next time?
I think so. I think it would work.
Can we give that a try?
All right.
Okay. Thanks, BJ.
We've also had a parent commenting about the classic, I'll eat in my room, please.
Oh, that was a classic. Oh, I meant to stop in between. Saffron, I'm so sorry. We were supposed to have comments in between, so maybe we'll have to dial back in a minute and sort of go back to the scenarios. But well, let's finish this one. Yeah, VJ, I don't think I'm going to bring it to your room. This isn't a full service hotel. And, you know, frankly, when you go to university, you're going to have to figure out how to cook your own meals. So I hope you'll learn to appreciate some of this while you're still here. So no, I'm afraid I'm not going to bring food into your room. Dinner's in 5 minutes. Thanks. All right. Saffron, we had intended to pause between, but I was so conscious of time that I kind of raced us along. Should we try to go backwards to the first scenario and see if parents want to just feedback some of the questions for the first?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'd welcome them now. If not, we can just move on.
Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions or thoughts about any of those scenarios, feel free to just put them in the chat, and Saffron can read them out and see if we can address them.
Yeah, no, all good. Thank you, Cora.
Okay, great. All right, so let's go on to the last one, which is the resources, I forgot to go over that. Can we go back? Right. So one of the things about, the gaming scenario is, one thing that might be very helpful is to start learning their language. When we care about someone, we want to learn their language. We want to understand their world. I certainly don't understand the gaming world, but at least if we can sort of pick up some of the vocabulary that's used, understand what kind of games they're playing, then you can ask those questions for connection. So is this a multiplayer game? Is this a role-playing game? So the links there just give some general background on, types of games that are out there. You might want to, for example, watch the movie, what is it called now? Ready Player One, that came out a while ago. It was a very popular movie, and it's got some great themes on what it's like to live in a virtual world versus in the real world, what you can gain and what you can lose. So again, it's trying to make it welcoming to talk about versus just all the reasons why they shouldn't be gaming and why it's so unhealthy for them. Trying to understand why they do it, what they're doing, engaging them in conversation about it. I mean, that's going to build relationship so that when you do have to talk about the boundaries around it, there's more common ground to work off of. I think, again, having those conversations in times of non-conflict is pretty important too. It's not in that moment when you're so frustrated that they haven't come out all weekend. It's going to be, okay, Sunday nights rolled along or whatever it is, and you recognize the frustration, and then you can be able to say to your child, hey, look, you know what? The whole weekend has gone and I have not seen you for more than 2 hours. We need to sit down and figure out how to do this in a more balanced way. When can you make time to do that? So again, trying to create that welcoming space where it's not like this, it's not like, oh God, not again, or, just when you're so fed up. Creating that time of non-conflict where you can have conversation, that's probably going to yield better results too when you talk about, creating boundaries together. Down under fitness is just thinking about, having, again, that empathy. Wow, I've spent the whole day at work sitting in front of the computer. I am so exhausted. My eyes are tired. My back is tired. Hey, honey, what are some of the things you're doing in PE? Or like, what are some of the stretches that you've learned? Hey, can you show me how to do that? Because like, oh, my back is really sore. So again, getting into asking them to get involved in your life and creating that welcome into your life. That can be another way to do that. Maybe it's about, I really want to get fit. Would you be willing to do a little 10-minute exercise with me after dinner before we get back onto our screens again? So just that invitation and the importance of that. We don't have that much time left. We have one more scenario that we can just put out a little bit later, and that's about the teen that doesn't want to go out. I just like to, if we could just show the title, the child that won't leave home. I've got a couple of resources here. One is about, the first one is just about finding fun things to do together. And maybe it's not about trying to get the child out entirely on their own, but maybe it's about doing things with another family. So, because one of the questions was, if a child is leaning heavily on the parental relationship and not going out to see friends, how do we work with that? So instead of pushing them out the door, maybe it's, hey, like, let's go and do this together with another family. And then there are other kids involved. And that could be sort of lowering the bar a little bit, but encouraging that interaction. I think another important part is, again, having those conversations about why it's difficult to step out. So another link there is about the lost art, or the art of conversation. And, chatting with your child about how it is difficult to do face-to-face. I find screen really difficult, not being able to see you, it stresses me out. But for these kids, they find this more comfortable. Actually going face-to-face is very uncomfortable. So making room to understand, oh, so why is it so difficult to talk to people? And they might give you information such as, well, I can't take back what I say. Like when I'm typing, I can at least edit what I'm thinking before I put it out there. Or I don't have to worry about how I look when I'm doing, a Zoom call, or when I post on social media, but what if I'm face to face? It's really nerve wracking. So those are just some of the things that might go with that topic. Let's just want to do a couple more bits and then we'll open it up to Q&A. I think it's really important that we recognize why conversations can go sideways really quickly. There's just a bunch of things that can trigger us, both as parents and for our kids too. You know, when they go to the point where they say, well, don't you trust me, mom? Or you think I just don't care. No, that's the trigger. And we have to just step back and go, okay, that is not what I meant. Let's rewind. Let's slow this conversation down and get reconnected again. So when you feel that energy rising, create opportunities or be able to say explicitly to your child, hey, I can see that, you know, like I can feel myself getting upset. Can I just, let me take a minute to just figure out what's bothering me. I think it's because when you said that, I felt really disrespected. And that opens up a modeling opportunity for your child then to say back to you, hey, you know, when you started talking about my friend like that, I felt really unsafe, for example. You know, so just noticing those triggers will help both your child and you become more centered and balanced. All of these things will help you to have those connected conversations about the nitty-gritties of having boundaries. I know I couldn't answer, you know, what exactly you should do, but yeah, I hope that just gives you some ideas. I think one thing as we close is let's look at the kind of pressure we put on ourselves, which I think sometimes fuels the very hot and, you know, heavy conversations we have with our kids. So, you know, what does it mean to be a good parent? How to be a good parent? In 2022, make sure your children's academic, emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual, physical, nutritional, and social needs are met while being careful not to overstimulate, understimulate, improperly medicate, helicopter, neglect them in a screen limited or better yet, screen free, processed food free, body positive, socially conscious, egalitarian, but also authoritative, nurturing, but fostering of independence, gentle, but not ever permissive, pesticide-free, multilingual home with access to green space, international travel and higher education at a top-tier university with guaranteed internship opportunities in a global firm. And don't forget the coconut oil. Feeling the pressure a little bit? And how about in generations past? Feed them sometimes. So I think it's important for you as parents, for me as a parent, to remember we can't do all of that and we're not meant to. Let's all just relax a little bit, step back, give ourselves room. As the student said, you know, we put so much pressure on them, but it's often because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be that good or perfect parent. Let's just back up and take a breath, right? Last slide, please. We have to recognize that the social media world is really a whole new world. It's a new world for them. It's a new world for us. And we're doing this together. And I think as long as we can help communicate to our teens that, hey, we are in this together. We're on the same side of the table. You know, let's face this together. Let's look at the difficulties and challenges together. I believe in you. I trust you. I know that we'll be able to find a way for you. How can I support you? Yes, the way is rough. Those conversations won't always be easy, but you are pioneering. And I hope that with some self-compassion, your stress levels can come down and create a safer space for your teams to connect with you. So thank you so much for your time today. I think we've just managed to keep it to the hour. I don't know if we have any time for more question and answer. Saffron, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we do have one question. Let me just have a little read of that.
Yeah.
What do you do when you give them space, but they just don't want to do the homework or they don't want to do the revision? And they kind of admit to that sense of apathy and procrastination?
Right. So let's sit with that procrastination and instead of judging it, understand it. That compassion piece is actually really massive because when they're allowed to actually feel it instead of fight it, they might be able to understand why they're procrastinating. You know, it's not like anybody wakes up wanting to fail in life. They all want to do well. So if they're not able to do it, let's sit with them and say, hey, I noticed you're really having, you know, a struggle getting started. What's happening? And more often than not, you're going to hear, I'm so stressed out, or I'm just drawing a blank. You know, I can't figure out where to start. And that's a wonderful opportunity to go, hey, can I get you a glass of water? You know, is there a friend or a teacher you can talk to get going on that? So there are ways that you can help them feel more supported in that time of procrastination. Again, let's remember, think the best of your child, not the worst of your child. They probably don't want to fail. Nobody wants to fail. So if they're not jumping on the wagon right away, there's usually a good reason for it. And if you make a space that's safe enough, they might be able to figure it out.
Thank you. Okay, well, that takes us to 7 o'clock. So thank you so much, Cora, for that insight and for sharing your knowledge with the West Island community. And parents, thank you for your time and your interaction this evening. I hope you've had some practical takeaways and feel more empowered in establishing and maintaining the boundaries with your teens. I'd really appreciate your feedback and suggestions as you exit the webinar, just so we can bring you more webinars in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.